The track is set, the 2025 Repco Supercars Championship season is around the corner, and we thought, why not rank some 2025 liveries? Now this tier list goes from S to D, S being the best and D being the worst, but I highly doubt that any of the liveries will end up on D because they're pretty good. Now to start off, we've got Thomas Randall's 2025 season livery. It's pretty good. I didn't expect such a change to the livery compared to last year. There's a lot of white that has been added to it, and usually white on race cars is pretty clean. The livery also has red accents, which I quite like. It makes the livery pop out more, and yeah, you can't really go wrong with Castro. Castro has always made some pretty decent liveries, so yeah, for this I'm gonna put it at probably A for the time being. Now these could probably change throughout this video, just because I can't really make my mind up. Now it's time for Cam Waters' new livery. This one also caught me by surprise because I kind of expected it to be the same as last year, where it was just matte black and a bunch of sponsors on it, but they actually changed it up and added a lot of green accents. Obviously they released it with a pretty creative Steve Jobs Apple sort of feel to it, so that was kind of cool and pretty comedic, pretty funny. All in all, the livery is just really clean, and it's obviously black and green is quite mean looking. Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop him right over next to Thomas Randall, just because I really like the change ups. Now, without being biased, the shell livery is probably going to be up at the S tier. No, it's not because we made it. It's just because it was a massive step up to what liveries they've been wearing over the past 5-6 years. Obviously they ran that red with the white in the middle and then the yellow stripe going across. This time it's completely different. This time it's white, it's got heaps of different elements to it, and that's probably why it's at the S tier. Now on to 888, who have also recently announced that they're going to Ford, which is quite bizarre. This livery is quite different in the aspect of it's also got white elements, which is quite a common theme with these supercars liveries this season. Yeah, it's got white, it's got light blue, it's a lot cleaner looking. Still obviously running the same elements, the same Red Bull Ampol elements, but it's pretty different. I kind of like it. Don't know if they were trying to replicate the Mustang render that they did. Obviously the Mustang had the white as well. Maybe that's just the way that they're headed with their colorways, or the color scheme, should I say. By and large, it's a good livery, but seeing Red Bull on other cars that are not in this category, Red Bull has some pretty interesting and decent liveries. And they get pretty creative with some of them, but this one, I don't know, it's missing something. But all in all, it is a pretty good color scheme. I do like the added white and the lighter blue. But yeah, it's just missing something. So I'm gonna go B. Next is the Walkinshaw cars. Now this was kind of expected. I kind of did expect them to go with the black like they did at the end of the season last year. However, I didn't expect the gradients that they added into it, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. There's parts where it could kind of continue on with the teal and the orange, but instead it's got the gradient there, and I'm just not sure how I feel about it. I'm kind of conflicted. All in all, it is a great improvement to the last year's livery, especially with the silver that they've also incorporated with it. It definitely gives a very nice feel to it. Obviously, we've announced the Sydney Super Night livery with the gold, and I think that might be a subtle, the silver might be a subtle nod to the gold. I'm not sure why they've added silver, but that's what I'm going to assume. And yeah, I mean, this on a Supra next year would look pretty good. I definitely rate this livery, especially with the white elements that they have also incorporated with it. Yeah, it looks sharp, it looks great. Yeah, so I'm gonna put these two at A for the time being. The reason why I'm not putting it S, which I would have, is because of the gradients that I'm kind of conflicted with. But all in all, it's a great livery. Now, the Tradie Energy car is very different compared to last year's Tradie Beer car that David Reynolds ran. It's very interesting. I don't know how to really describe how I feel about it. The silver scheme with the very bright fluorescent yellow is definitely a really cool colorway that you could do with it. However, the halftone effect, I'm kind of a little bit conflicted with it. It's still a very interesting livery. Just there's a lot of color, like different colors, and it kind of all clashes with each other in a sense. Now that's probably not the designer's fault. Like, most of the colors are obviously depicted with the sponsors. So once again, it's not the designer's fault. It's probably just having that many sponsors that need the color with it. It can get quite busy. But all in all, I do like this livery. It's definitely a different step up from last year. So I'm going to put it at B. A bright fluorescent livery, just straight bright fluorescent, that could be pretty cool, especially with like black elements to it. Now onto the other Team 18 car. We have Anton De Pasquale, who used to run in Shell, but now he's running in Team 18. This is going to be very weird for me because I've always known him for being as a Shell driver. Obviously I knew he's been driving for Erebus or Penrite earlier in his days, but this is definitely interesting. Now the Dewalt stuck around with Team 18 for this year. Obviously Frosty was in the Dewalt car last year and the year before that. I like it. I think this is a really clean livery. The yellow for Dewalt was always better than the black in my opinion. It just suits Dewalt a lot more than having black and obviously the yellow Dewalt or yellow assets. Yeah, it's definitely a clean new rendition of what Dewalt liveries have been. So I'm going to put it at A, and it's very nice. Right, now we have the Premier cars. Now Richie Stanaway is filling in for Tim Slade, who has kind of retired for a full-time seat in the Supercars Championship. Now, what do you want, Miro? Go away. What? Go away. So yeah, Richie Stanaway is currently in the other Premier car, which I'm very glad that he got another seat. Kind of played a bit of musical chairs because obviously he had that one season last year in Penrite. He was also the co-driver in Triple Eight the year before that. So yeah, I'm very glad that he's got another seat. Now these cars, I'm glad that they went back to the black. Obviously the white and red cars were very clean and I really enjoyed them, but Premier and Newlawn have always kind of been on black. So I'm kind of glad that they've gone back to that sort of look. It's a bit too much for me. The massive red going along the side of it, yeah, it's just a bit too much, especially with the gradient behind it. All in all, it's not a bad livery. I do always like Premier's logo, how they always incorporate it to the livery. Obviously, the logo being the arrows that kind of spin around. So I'm going to put it at B. Now we have MSR, obviously running the wild card at the start of the season. These liveries are pretty cool. However, they're kind of a little too close to last year's. Obviously, Percat always ran the Bendix sponsorship last year, and now he's brought it over this year, which I do like the Bendix update that they did. Obviously, the car started off with just the black Bendix on the side, and then they updated it to the white with the black drop behind it. It's a good set of colours. I do like the Bendix livery that they ran last year and the updated version this year. Yeah, all in all, it is a good livery. So I'm going to put that one at A. Now, Cam Hill ran a bunch of different sponsors last year because obviously it was a rotating sponsor. I don't know if it's the same this year. I kind of hope it is because the Superglass sponsor just kind of doesn't pop on liveries as much as it did with the SP Tools. I really enjoyed the SP Tools comeback. Obviously, SP Tools was a pretty big sponsor back in early days. And yeah, I really enjoyed that livery. However, this livery just doesn't really pop out or stand out as much as it can. There's a lot going on. So I'm going to put this one at B just because it doesn't pop out or stand out as much as this. Now we have the wild card. The livery kind of stands out. I do like the black and the blue, obviously mixed with a tiny bit of red accents. All in all, it's an alright livery. It's not as good as I kind of hoped it to be, but it's always nice having a wild card enter the season. I'm gonna put as a livery, I'm gonna put as B, but I do really enjoy having a wild card in the season. I'm pretty sure Tickford's got 2 other wild cards later down the track. Obviously, they haven't released their liveries, so I'm not going to do them. Now we have the Penrite Racing or Grove Racing liveries. To me, it seemed that they updated the pattern that they used from last year, which is kind of nice. However, they kind of removed some black and red assets that they had last year that kind of made it pop a bit more. I'm not sure why they did that. It is a good livery. Last year it was like a matte finish, whereas this year I'm pretty sure they went with gloss over the top of it, which makes it nice and shiny. I'm not sure how I feel about the shiny compared to the matte. The matte's always clean on a race car, whereas glossy's kind of shiny, but I probably prefer matte in general. Livery's still good, so I'm going to add it to B. Now it's time for Erebus. Obviously, Erebus was running kind of a rotating sponsor last year as well with Brody and Jack LeBrock. They went with the Chico sponsor for Bathurst, and they obviously won the 2024 Bathurst 1000, so that was good of them. To bring the Chico sponsor back, I'm not sure it has as much effect as it did last year, but the Chico Roll promo and just sponsorship in general for the Bathurst 1000 really worked, and the colours for it was really nice. I definitely enjoyed the black with the red and slight orange bits to it. They've added kind of an updated version of this livery for this season, and I kind of like the updated version a lot better than last year's version. However, once again, having the Chico sponsor again just kind of doesn't have the same effect. But as a livery, I quite enjoy it. So I'm going to put it at A. for this one. Jack Brocq also ran a Bic livery, and what else did he run? I can only remember the Bic and the Tyre Power livery, which they brought the Tyre Power livery for this season, obviously updated for Jack. Ultimately, it's pretty good. I mean, you can't really go wrong with blue, white, and red. Yeah, given Tyre Power is a pretty big sponsor for them, I'm gonna drop it alongside Cooper Murray and the Chico Rollmobile. Alright, now we have the James Courtney Snowy River car. Now, you can't really go wrong with the Snowy River car because their liveries are usually pretty good. This time around, they've added a white roof and a couple different updated elements of white and black. I quite like it. For James Courtney's last year, I think it's a pretty good livery. I'm going to put it at A. I really enjoy Snowy River cars, especially with the teal. Like, you can't really go wrong with teal, black and white. Onto Aaron Love's car. Now, this livery kind of barely changed for me. In the funny Top Gear reveal that they had, Aaron Love claimed to have added white stripes to it, and just other white little assets. However, it just doesn't do it for me. Their colorway, obviously the blue and the black, work really well, and it's a very clean livery, but once again, it looks a lot like last year's livery, so I'm going to add it at B. Now, Macaulay Jones was kind of a surprise to me. Obviously, the Pizza Hut car has always been white and red, and when they dropped this livery of it being bright yellow, that kind of just caught me completely off guard. I'm not sure why they did yellow. Maybe it's just a one-time thing and they're going to add a different livery on after the Sydney 500. I mean, it stands out. I kind of like the yellow and the red. It's definitely different. However, there's not a lot to it. It's kind of just yellow and red. However, I'm going to put this probably at I'm going to put this livery at B because the yellow really stood out, but it's just kind of doesn't have any assets or anything that makes it kind of look aggressive or anything. Like, it's just yellow and red. Now onto SCT Logistics Jackson Evans car. It's interesting. I liked the pattern that they kind of used, that they kind of incorporated into it. Obviously the SCT design elements. Once again, it doesn't really have that kind of wow factor to the livery. But ultimately you can't go wrong with white, red and grey. It's clean. So I'm going to put that at B. Now it's the Middies car that Bryce Fullwood drives. It's pretty much exactly the same as last year, maybe like a couple extra bigger sponsors. Yeah, it's kind of exactly the same as last year's. I heard that it might be a revolving sponsor, so hopefully we see something different throughout the season. But yeah, it's kind of the same livery, so I'm going to put that at B. Now it's time for Andre Heimgartner, and this is the last car that has been revealed for this season. Obviously, Tickford's wildcard later down the track. I really enjoyed last year's livery. The gradient with the small R&J battery assets that were amongst the car, really nice. However, this season's livery, I don't know what happened. it had a very nice, aggressive looking livery last year, and there was a lot of different assets to it. This one, it was just kind of, I don't really want to say boring, because the color scheme is really clean and very nice. However, just big stripes down the side. So I'm going to put it at B. This is my tier list for this season. Let us know down in the comments below what cars you want us to make. Obviously, I'll be looking at them. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on what we drop next. There's a lot of new content down later on in the season. Yeah, so stay tuned. This is my tier list. Goodbye.